right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Give us a call tonight at 412-575-2600 is the number. Brian Batko will join me in just a matter of moments, and we're taking your phone calls tonight at 412-575-2600 is the number. Obviously, the biggest story today, Cam Heyward talked to us after practice. He practiced today, was a full participant, did not practice yesterday. That was a Veterans Day off, but, you know, scared some people whether he was going to play or not. Now, look, we heard what he had to say. I personally think he's playing. I don't think he's going to sit out. He's the ultimate team guy. Could they win this game without him? Yeah. Does it hurt him if he sits out? I think potentially he might lose some money here. Maybe he would lose some fans. But, you know, he said he wants to do what's best for his family, and next year's money's not guaranteed. So I kind of see where he's coming from. I don't know what's going to happen, but my gut is telling me he's playing.
I do see where he's coming from too, Rich. I'm not trying to be wishy-washy when I say this. I think pretty much any time you get in these contract negotiations between team and player, it is difficult. There are two sides to every story, so it's not really easy. I'll just kind of lay it out there, I think, for people to come to their own conclusions on. I'm with you. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play against the Jets. I think the Steelers would be shocked as well.
And he wouldn't say exactly what he wants and what he thinks is fair. I wish we kind of knew that.
I think he's open to a lot of things. I think that's the point. I think he wants pretty much anything that would make his deal sweeter and make up for that, like you mentioned, you know, lack of guaranteed money beyond this year and the roster bonus, which he essentially agreed to in lieu of a pay cut that they were asking him to take a couple years ago.
Let me play devil's advocate, Brian. If the Steelers do this, then they open up a can of worms here, right? You're basically doing something, and now other players will see it, and this will happen more often. Don't you think the Steelers have to kind of take a stance?
Yeah, I think that's exactly why they're so hesitant to budge here. And all week, probably even going into today, Rich, I thought they would budge, and that they were just playing hardball too, because it takes two to tango. Old two can play that game, but eventually they would, you know, quote unquote cave, but compromise is probably the better word. After talking to some people today, and certainly Cam did not sound optimistic at all, I thought.
No.
Now I don't think it is going to happen, and it does become more of, is he just going to have to grit his teeth and be a little bit bitter about everything that happens this season while continuing to go out there and give it his all, which I think he will. I still think he's going to play and play well as early as this week against the Jets. It wouldn't surprise me if Justin Fields' first drop back, he's scanning the field looking to throw, and a pass gets batted down by Big 97. I think he's going to be fine and in shape despite so much missed practice time. But yeah, this has just become a distraction that clearly nobody wanted, and as Cam said himself, he thought it was going to be easier than this. And the only reason why I bring up has this gotten personal at all, or could this get more personal, is when he talked to us last month in Latrobe, he told a little anecdote about how they were at the bargaining table, and he said, all right, well, I'm going to come back and be an All-Pro next year, and there were giggles across the table from him. And then he said today that it was hammered home to him, I guess we could have clarified from whom, but that he was damaged goods after his 2023 injury-plagued season. And no player wants to hear that, even if we all know that it's the front office's job to be cold and calculating and try to strip the emotion away from those conversations.
So here's one compromise I think maybe could get done. I don't know if it will. Just guarantee the money next year, right? I mean, I think that would make it a little bit easier for Cam to swallow. You're not giving him a raise. You're just guaranteeing that he's on this team next year with that money. I think he deserves it. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year. He deserves it for what he's done for the organization over the years.
I think his most compelling sentence today, to make his case was, the way that I represent this team out there, as in the community, the way I represent this team on the field. And that's what GMs and team presidents, I think, have to justify to themselves in a lot of situations. You're not just paying players for what they do on the field. Obviously, that's the biggest part of it. But are they a good representation of your franchise in every other facet of what they do. I think that does matter, and clearly Cam has been that. So, yeah, it's still tough. You know, I'll propose another potential solution, which I think is what Cam has been hinting at for a while now, is do what they did for Antonio Brown in back-to-back years in 2015 and 2016. When he was 2 years out from a new contract, or his contract expiring, that's a precedent here that matters. The Steelers don't do that. Sometimes with quarterbacks, they'll make an exception, but Cam being 2 years away, that's not a time that they'll typically go back and renegotiate. Well, for AB, when he was at the height of his powers, probably the best wide receiver in the league, they gave him some cash advances from next year's deal, so essentially guaranteeing him a few more million each year. I don't think they've wanted to do that since the AB situations, and I think that's probably something that Cam would live with as a compromise if they were willing to.
Yeah, Cam's a lot different, a lot better than AB. Yeah, I was
He's
around.
a better citizen. I mean, he's 36 too. AB was much younger back then. And comparatively, while Cam was an All-Pro last year, I don't know that he's the best defensive lineman in the league, but Antonio Brown was, I think, had a better case of being the best receiver.
I just don't know. You can't add any more years to Cam, I don't think.
No.
I think he has this year and next year, and I think it's a good career at that point.
And I don't think he's asking for Chris Jones' money, the Chiefs' defensive tackle, who I believe is the highest paid at the position. I don't even think he's necessarily expecting that. I think he just wants a little bit sweeter deal to make himself sleep better at night and feel a little more financial security.
Yeah. All right, don't forget to give us a call, 412-575-2600. We have one phone line open right now. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. Now our Xfinity tweet of the night. This is from Donnie Football from 93.7 The Fan. Interesting stat. In the last decade, 9 different QBs have started games for the Steelers, and just one has a losing record. Your guy right there, Mitch Trubisky. I do have an interesting stat with Aaron Rodgers. I saw, CBS Sports. I'm not going to take credit for it. It was from CBS Sports. Aaron Rodgers' last 4 openers. 21, lost 38-3 at New Orleans, largest loss of his career. 22, lost 23-7 at Minnesota. 23, torn Achilles on 4th play of the game. That's with the Jets. 24, lost 32-19 at San Francisco. So what's going to happen in 25?
Well, I'll do you one better, Rich. I mean, 2020, he eviscerated the Vikings. They scored 43 points. He threw for 4 touchdowns and nearly 400 yards. But the season before that, 2019, which was the change of head coach in Green Bay, Mike McCarthy to Matt LaFleur. So he was in a new offense. He was doing some new things, much like this year. I think he had 1 touchdown. They didn't score more than 10 points. I don't have the exact box score in my head, but that also was a rough opener for him. So it's really 5 of the last 6, I think.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a little bit of cause for concern. You wonder, is that just circumstantial, or is he a slow starter, and will that be exacerbated even more by having never played in a real game with these guys, with Arthur Smith? And obviously he didn't log the snaps in the preseason.
So that leads us to our Penn West University question, live poll question. And I just scanned that QR code in the right-hand corner of your screen. Will the Steelers beat the Jets on Sunday? Most people think yes. 70% of our viewers right now think so. I think so. I have a 23-13 win by the Steelers. I think they're going to win this game just because I look at the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense knows Justin Fields. I think Steelers defense is better than the Jets defense. And I think even though we might see a slow starting Steelers offense, I'll take Aaron Rodgers and these guys over Justin Fields.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that you just said. Justin Fields, the familiarity there, I think those situations always work a little bit more in favor of the team and the coaching staff that knows the player rather than the opposite of that dynamic. And, I mean, he's trying to get his feet wet, too, in a new situation, a brand-new head coach in Aaron Glenn. Now, granted, Mike Tomlin, for whatever reason, maybe this is circumstantial as well, he has struggled against first-time head coaches when he's in those matchups. I don't know if it's when you face somebody like John Harbaugh so often, you kind of just have a sixth sense of what they're going to do on a given play. Are they going to send a blitz? Are they going to run it or throw it here? Are they going to take a timeout and work the clock? maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's one of the advantages that Mike Tomlin has against some veteran coaches, not guys like Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, obviously, but he has lost to some, I would say, not exactly big names. Shane Steichen from the Colts, the first time they played them, they won. Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals a couple years ago was part of that late season 3-game skid, which ties back to Donnie Chedrick's Mitch Trubisky tweet. So that's just one of those random little things that's sticking in my brain. Obviously, Jets head coach Aaron Glenn making his NFL debut in that seat Sunday.
One of my predictions for this game, Justin Fields, 3 turnovers. Let's go out to Frank in Taylorstown. How you doing, Frank?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, I think Cam's playing a very dangerous game here because in 23, he wasn't good at all. Last year, he had a bounce-back season, but, you can't ever beat age. And so I think that to guarantee next year, I think you're playing with fire because nobody knows what's really going to happen. And we did get Black and Harmon and the defensive tackle. I know they're rookies, but, they're going to be his eventual replacement. So I think that, it's unlike AB where he was at the top of his game. So I think he's really playing with fire right now because he has a few bad games. I think the fans are going to turn on him.
Frank, you're right. Father Time is undefeated. You're right about that. The reason I think he had such a bad season in 23, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he was injured, came back sooner than he should have. Maybe he shouldn't even have played that year. Came back sooner, and he wasn't 100%. He was playing through an injury
and he admitted that
down
today.
the stretch.
He was pretty open about that.
Yeah, and he brought that up, and I think it's a very valid point. You look what he did last year.
And I think the other aspect of this, too, Frank, is this is where you start to just get talking in circles with an agent and, a GM or salary cap manager, contract negotiator from a team. One side is going to say, look at the year that we just had. Obviously, we can do it again. And then the other side can say, well, then why are you so worried about getting this security if you feel like you're going to do it again? Are you worried you're going to fall off? No, we're not worried we're going to fall off. We're still playing at an all-pro level. We just want to be compensated commensurate with that. And I think that's Cam's biggest sticking point is that in no world should he be the 22nd highest paid player at his position. In no world should he be less than someone like Javon Kinlaw, who got a new deal this offseason in free agency from the Commanders. He mentioned that last month when we talked to him that, or maybe it was in an Adam Schefter tweet when this thing first leaked, that the defensive line market kind of exploded this offseason and not necessarily with huge names that you think of like Cam Heyward. And I think he's just someone, Rich, you've been covering him a lot longer than me. I think this has added up over the years that he's long felt underappreciated, disrespected, underrated, not necessarily by his own organization, but I know this year he was pretty disappointed to be, I think he was in the 80s or 90s in the NFL top 100 player poll that the guys themselves vote on. So maybe some of these things all add up together and create some of the perpetually aggrieved Cam Heyward here.
Guaranteeing next year just protects him in case he has an injury. If he has an above average season this year, which I would expect if he stays healthy, he's still going to play one more year and you're doing the right thing. You're not like losing out on that money. I'm just saying that would help. That might bridge the gap here. I don't even know what they're talking about behind closed doors. It's just something that I thought would be an easy fix. You're not giving him a raise. You're just guaranteeing what he's supposed to get next year. And I think he deserves it because he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. And like he mentioned, and we mentioned just a little bit ago, what he's done off the field for this team, I think there's a dollar figure attached to that. Let's go out to Fred in Uniontown. How you doing, Fred?
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
You have a lot of respect for Cam Heyward and everything. If he don't play Sunday, I mean, come on. We're talking a lot of money here. Money's ruining sports.
Yeah, Fred, I get it, and I hear this from a lot of fans on this show and walking around, or I'm sure you hear too, Brian. A lot of fans, if he sits out, they're not going to feel bad for him because he's making $15 million.
Yeah, those arguments always kind of fall on deaf ears from players, like it or not, but I guess it's all relative, Rich.
All right, we got to take a break. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. Our good friend of the show, Ryan, just tweeted me and said, good thing the Steelers never signed Amari Cooper, who just retired. I guess that is a good thing. All right, so I do think that's still a position of need for the Steelers. I hope it doesn't come to bite them at some point. But I want you to answer this question. Will the Steelers beat the Jets on Sunday? I need a score and a prediction from you, and also a prediction of the season.
Ooh, wow, putting me on the spot. Yes, I think they win Sunday. Two teams that are in different stages of where they should be right now. The Steelers, not quite all in, but Super Bowl is their goal. The Jets, they just want to make some progress with a new head coach, new staff, new quarterback. So I'm going to say it's ugly, but Steelers pull it out 18-14. And for the season, I'm going to keep going with what we see year in and year out. 10-7, first round loss in the playoffs to one of those teams that just has an absolute game changer under center.
I don't know if it's because we're around the team all the time and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid or what it is, but I think the Steelers win this game. I think it'll be ugly, 23-13. I have somewhere around there. I still think it's under that point total. I was going through the schedule yesterday, and I like 11-6. Call me crazy here. The over and under right now in Vegas is 8.5. I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I mean, I originally was thinking 9-8. Aaron Rodgers signed. I like the Jalen Ramsey move as well. So that makes me feel a little bit better about predicting them to get to that 10-win threshold again.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. We'll see you soon on the show, and hopefully we see you on KDKA News right now.